Hello student, welcome back. Today the topic is footprints without feet part 2. In part 1 I have completed some portion and from the remaining portion I will complete it today. Footprints without feet was written by H.G. Wells. Before starting the second portion or part 2, let us discuss about the summary. What was given in it? Let us see. Griffin, an eccentric scientist, means mad scientist, discovered a rare drug, and this could make a naked man invisible. He was not liked by his landlord. He decided to take revenge on him. One day, what he did? One day, he set his landlord's house on fire. Then he drank his rare drug or medicine and put off or take out his clothes. Now he could see everyone, but none could see him. No one could see him right now, and he was safe from being caught. But he was without clothes, and it was a very cold winter time. Therefore, he was facing a lot of problem. He was without clothes. He was searching for such clothes and such good place to get the clothes and food. He passed the night in a London store and he stole goods and money from the store. Then he went to a village called Epping. He stayed at an inn. Inn means one type of hotel that give rent for the people, and he stole money from clergyman's desk. A policeman named Zaffers was called, and a strange fight took place. Griffin took off his bandages and his glasses and his hat. So Griffin, the scientist, removed his bandages, his glasses and his hat. Now he looked helpless. People were horrified. Griffin hit the policeman and he got free and ran away. So, student, let us move towards the main topic for today. In the first part, I was discussing this page, and in this second part, I will continue from here. You can look at here. Eager to get away from the crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. Inn means hotel, and it was a very awkward situation. Normally, in the winter time, people should not go from the town to the village. But here it was happening, and that man, the eccentric scientist, went to the place and took the 2 rooms in that hotel. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unpleasant event. So people were not taking it easily because some unnatural event might be taken place. That's why that person had come to take shelter here. A strange of such uncommon appearance set all tongues waggling. So actually that man was quite silent. He was not sharing anything with anyone else. On the other hand, Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made very effort to be friendly with that man. But Griffin had no desire to talk and told her. What did Griffin say on that condition to the landlady? He told that my reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude. Actually, he came here to get the peace, mental satisfaction. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. So, nobody should disturb me in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face. You can see the bandage on my forehead. So, it was due to my accident. So, don't disturb me. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, now The landlady was in the belief that man must be a mad scientist. In a view of the fact that he had paid her in advance. Little amount of money also he paid to the landlady before the booking of the room. Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. Actually, Mrs. Hall, the landlady, was wanting to know about his strange habits and angry behavior. But the stolen money did not last long. Actually, the money he had taken from the shop, from the Drury Lane, and there this money was not going to last for a long time, and presently Giffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. He pretended. So after some time, when landlady asked for money, he told that he did not have ready cash in his hand. Presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. He pretended. He told that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by the noises in the study. Study means study room. So strange noises were coming in the study room. That's why clergyman and his wife woke up early in the morning. Creeping downstairs, so listening to the sound, they started going down, and they heard the chink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. So they found suddenly that money they had kept in the desk that were not there, and without making any noise and with a poker grasped firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. He took support some stick, the clergyman, and he opened the door. Surrender. After entering the house or the room, the clergyman told to surrender who is there inside the room. Then to his amazement, means very much confusion. Then to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. After that, the clergyman realized that nobody was there inside the room, and the room was empty. He and his wife looked under the desk and then behind the curtains. Everywhere they started searching. So they saw under the desk, behind the curtain, and even up the chimney. Every place they searched, there was not a sign of anybody, but they could not get any person inside. Yet the desk had been opened, and what was most surprising, that was the drawer or the desk was opened and the housekeeping money was not there. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. So the clergyman was aged man. He was uttering this word the whole day. He was telling all the day that it was an extraordinary affair. But it was not an extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. But the most surprising thing that was going to be held little later in the morning, that was most surprising. What was happened? Let's see. The landlady and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. The landlord and his wife were up very early. So they wake up very early in the morning, both landlord and landlady, like Mrs. Halls, and were surprised to see the scientist door wide open. And when they woke up in the early morning, they found the scientist who took the rooms, his door was wide open and usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. And that man, the eccentric scientist, Griffin, generally became very much angry when any unwanted person entered his room. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed, so they did not want to miss this opportunity to search him in his empty room. They peeped round the door. Peeped means have a look or glance from hiding. They peeped round the door and saw nobody and decided to investigate in this matter. The bedclothes were cold. When they were investigating after entering the room, they found that the bedclothes were cold. That seemed that person who was sleeping must have waken up earlier. That's why the bed is now cold enough, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time ago. And the stranger still. The clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. Actually, the bandage and all the decoration like clothes of his that were not on his body, over his body, but they were lying here and there. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear, sniffing sound, that means sound made of nose, and that sound she heard very close to her ear. A moment later, that hat on the bedpost leaped up and dashed itself into her face. So suddenly she observed that the cap, the round hat that was flying and coming towards her face and struck her face. Then the bedroom chair that became alive. It was looking like the chair was moving in the air and springing into the air. It changed straight at her. It charged straight at her and legs foremost. Actually, the chair was coming towards them as she and her husband turned away in terror. So they decided to run away from that place. It was not looking good. So the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room. Now the chair had come to them and pushed them out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. So when they went out of the room, the door suddenly locked from inside. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. So she became senseless. The landlady became senseless and she was about to fall from the stairs. And she was convinced that the room was haunted by the spirits or ghosts and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into the furniture. So there were two possibilities. Either this house or room was haunted by some ghost, or the spirit of the stranger had entered into the furniture. My poor mother used to sit in this chair. Here the landlady was telling. This was the place where my mother used to sit every day. To think it should rise up against me now. She was afraid, she was getting scared that once again it might come to her. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. So all the neighbors came, all the people came, they were thinking that this action was done by some witch or magical lady. But witchcraft or not, when news of the burglary or robbery at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having had a hand in it. So when the news of the stealing spread out that area, everybody was suspecting that scientist had done the deed. Suspicion grew ever stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash. Actually, during this time, that scientist had given some amount of money to the landlady. So the suspicion or target was going to be made clear, positive. Though he had submitted not long before admitted that he had no money. Earlier he said that he had no money, but how could he get the money to pay for the rent? The village constable was scarcely secretly sent for, and instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist. So information was sent to constable, but Mrs. Hall was not waiting for him to come, and he went straight to the scientist. She went straight to the scientist, who had somehow mysteriously appeared from an empty bedroom. Actually, the scientist Griffin, when the landlady went to him, he suddenly appeared from the empty room. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs. Actually, here the landlady was charging him directly. She was telling that what you did with my chair in the upstairs, she demanded, and I want to know how it is you come out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. These three questions were thrown by the landlady to the eccentric scientist. So I want to know that how did you come out of an empty room, and especially how did you enter in a locked room? The scientist was always quick-tempered. Listening to all this question, the scientist became angry. Now he became furious, more angry. And you don't understand who or what I am now. The scientist was telling that, do you know who I am? He shouted, very well, I will show you that who I am. Suddenly, he threw off his bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and even nose also. All the belongings on his body, he threw them all, and it took him only a minute to do this. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at the headless man. When he was removing all this decoration from his head became invisible, and all the people who were standing at the bar in the hotel became speechless. Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived. He came now and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. First of all, he was confused. How to arrest a man who had no head? But Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If a magistrate's warrant order a person's arrest, then the person had to be arrested with or without his head. So Jaffers was very punctual about his duty. He wanted to abide by the order of magistrate, and he wanted to arrest the man with head or without head. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off the garment after another. Now the constable was ready to arrest the man, and he was trying to catch him, the man who was trying to make him invisible slowly. Finally, a shot flew into the air, and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. Now the constable found in a situation that he was trying to catch a man who is not visible, and he was struggling for this, but found themselves now what has happened? He could not see at all. Some people tried to help him. So from the side, some people came to help the constable, but all these people struggled against themselves, or they clashed against themselves, found themselves hit by the blows that seemed to come from nowhere. Actually, that invisible man started blowing, started kicking and fighting with them, but the man was not visible. In the end, Jaffers was knocked unconscious as he made last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. Actually, the constable Jaffers wanted to catch the scientist, who became completely invisible due to removing of the clothes, and when he was fallen on the ground, he became unconscious. There was nervous, excited cries of all, "Hold him!" Now the cries were coming out like, "Hold him" or "Catch him." But this was easier said. This was easier said than done. Something which is very difficult, so people said it is very easy, but it is not very easy work to catch an invisible man. Griffin had shaken himself free. Now Griffin released himself and to make himself free, and no one knew where to lay hands on him. So nobody was getting the place to catch him, and in this way Griffin got the right opportunity to release himself and make him free and went away. In this way, dear student, you can see Griffin was obviously a talented scientist, but he used the science in the wrong way. He tortured the people, he robbed, stolen the money, he attacked the storekeeper, and even he plundered some part of the storehouse, departmental store. In this way, he was a very lawless man. This very humorous story was written by H.G. Wells, and it was taken from Invisible Man. In my next video, I will come with some new chapters. Till then, goodbye to all of you.